The 2024 presidential election between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris is rather strange to say the least. There has been a lot of bizarre things going on, but you will find more often than not a good amount of people believe we will not even have a 2024 election. There will be no election on November 5th. Now me, I am rather indifferent. I still do believe there will be or may be a selection on November 5th, but I am not sure if this selection will make it all the way till inauguration. What is rather strange is that it's not just members of the public that are sharing these sentiments, but it's also the media. There are certain media agencies that are publishing articles where they are saying we might not have a presidential election in 2024 if certain events happen. You never really heard this talking point in previous elections, but for whatever reason, it's really gaining steam this year. A lot of people also feel that something big is going to happen. Something big is around the corner. Now, before we do continue, I do want to give a warning that we will be getting into some fear-mongering territory. There are some people that say, Minutes of Horror, you are the monger of fear. And I say, yes. But here is your warning before we do continue. So when we talk about things like this, a lot of people say that nothing happens. Nothing ever happens. But a lot of crazy events have went down ever since 2020. I feel that ever since 2020, the world has gotten increasingly crazier. Some people believe since 2012 or 2008, but ever since the C-19, we have just been seeing bizarre event after event after event. So it wouldn't really surprise me if the United States did not see an election in 2024. Matter of fact, the United States not having an election is on the bottom of my crazy event tier list. For people that say that'll never happen, the United States not having an election or a president, I pose this question to you. Who is running the United States now? From what I understood anyway, and this is not me saying this, after his debate with Trump, even Biden's own party was saying that Biden was no longer competent. They saw the writing on the wall. Biden was having difficulties forming a sentence. He could not put a proper sentence together when he was debating Trump. Unless it's all an act, again, who is running the United States now? So I want to go back to the 2024 Economist magazine cover, because this magazine cover has been very accurate. When this magazine cover was published back in November of 2023, I made a video on this magazine cover and I said, Joe Biden is not on this magazine cover. You can see every foreign world leader, you can see Trump at the top, and to the left, you can see the person running against Trump, but you do not see Biden on this cover. Now, there are some people that believe the person to the bottom left is Biden, but no, that is Netanyahu. This was during a time when Joe Biden was considered very competent to his own party. You cannot say anything negative about Joe Biden. Many people were very oblivious. But I said when this article came out, I said Joe Biden will definitely be replaced by a female. Because look at this Economist cover. It's color-coded. You can see the leader of China. You can see Netanyahu. You can see Putin. And you can see Zelensky. They are all color-coded along with the merger. But not just these four leaders, but you can also see whether it's Trump or this female that's running against Trump, this Democratic female, they are also color-coded with the red and blue squares, meaning whoever wins will also be along with this merger. Now, at that time, I thought that female would be Michelle Obama. I did not believe that they would run Kamala Harris. So this magazine cover has actually been pretty accurate so far, but it is also telling us something else. And what it's telling us is that there will be a great merger. Now, before you say that Putin or Xi Jinping or Zelensky would not merge together, you have to remember that all these people have spoken and given speeches at the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum is the real powers that be that we see anyway. But looking at this magazine cover has a as above, so below effect taking place. What's happening at the top is happening at the bottom. So I had mentioned this multiple times. Right below Putin and Zelensky, but above the election box, you can see two circles, a black and white circle. This represents the solar eclipse, the sun and the moon merging together. Reflecting these circles are two more circles, red and blue circles, which are also merging together. These world leaders are also color-coded red and blue, but above these world leaders are two more world leaders, the Democratic and Republican nominees. They are black silhouettes, but you also see a question mark near Trump's head. Now look at this circle right below the election box. You can see a black circle with a question mark. But you can also see the red and blue circles merging together with the black, and then they all finally become one. This magazine cover is telling us that all these world leaders will be merging into one, and also will be merging with whoever is the leader of the United States. What is also rather interesting, above the United States nominees, you can see on the left nukes, but you can see on the right doves, peace and war. But if you look good, you can see they're all connected together by lines. This magazine cover is also telling us no matter which way we choose, it's all going to end the same, and it all connects to this election box. Now you would think out of everything on this cover, the ballots in the election box would be red and blue to signify Democrats and Republicans. These ballots are blank, which could also hint to no election for 2024. This could also mean no matter who you vote for, they're all the same. But there is a reason, there is a message as to why the ballots are not color-coded when we do have a color-coding scheme going on this cover. You will also notice that merged black circle with the question mark is attached to the ballot box. There is definitely a lot more going on when it comes to this cover, but I want to talk about the hinting to a great merger. What is also interesting is that right above the ballot box there is an hourglass letting us know that time is running out, and it's attached to the colorless ballot box. The hourglass is also a reflection to two different locations at the bottom. One of those locations is South America, and the other location happens to be the location of Indonesia and Australia. So I wonder if something is going to happen in these locations that will set everything off. I also want to mention this TV to the left, where we see what I believe is the Eye of Lucifer, but this is the deception by the media. You can see brains, 4 brains connected to this TV. These brains represent the public. We are seeing a lot of deception being played out once again by the media. When we are being told these events are happening, when residents at certain locations are speaking out, we are becoming heavily invested to these events, emotionally invested. And then a few days later, this same media that's telling us these events are going on are now telling us they never happened. They're just rumors. These are just conspiracy theories. For example, I'll use one example out of many. Those gangs that were supposedly taking over an apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. News and media were even interviewing residents who were inside the apartment saying, yes, they were paying rent to these gangs. These gangs are a real problem. Again, getting the public emotionally invested into these stories.
Was a prisoner in her own home. She's lived in this building at 12th and Dallas for years. This summer, when crime got worse, Cindy got cameras. Doorbell video shows a group of armed men forcing their way into her neighbor's home. Another night, her camera outside captured 2 men approaching a vehicle, guns drawn. She's called 911 so often, they know her by name.
He said, ever considered leaving? If I could afford to leave, I wouldn't be there.
She says neighbors fall asleep to gunfire. Her car still damaged from an overnight shootout.
This is a bullet hole.
It was one of the few times Aurora police responded.
They will call me and say, I'm sorry, but we're not coming.
The public, they start to speak out. They start to speak out on different social media platforms. Then only a few days later, news and media will come out and say, well, the police confirmed this never happened. We never said this happened. These were stories, these were rumors created by the public. Now you are spreading conspiracy theories, and this has been happening a lot lately in 2024 for a specific reason. We are being goaded into these stories by news and media. We are becoming emotionally invested. We are speaking out. And then only a few days later, news and media, the same news and media, will tell us these never happened. These were conspiracy theories. It's very, very strange. There are also a couple other interesting things that I have noticed which could be considered conditioning when it comes to a great merger. For instance, during the debate, Donald Trump made a joke that Kamala Harris will get a Trump 2024 hat or a MAGA hat because she's been flip-flopping on her policies, that her policies now more align to his policies. Then what do we see the very next day? Less than 24 hours after these comments were made, we see Biden on camera wearing a Trump hat, a Trump 2024 hat. This is not a coincidence. Now, Biden's excuse for wearing the hat, he said it was 9/11, he wanted to promote unity, but 9/11 happens every year. These people never talk about unity, but now all of a sudden they want to. For example, 4 years ago, Trump and Biden actually avoided each other at the same memorial. Flash forward 4 years later, what changed? Why do they want to be unified now? And now we see the Democratic president wearing a Trump 2024 hat. We also saw something similar during the 9/11 memorial. You can see Trump and J.D. Vance on the right wearing red ties. You can see Biden on the left wearing a blue tie. But between them, you can see this individual here wearing a purple tie. Of course, red and blue combined make purple. The themes of unity also played out heavily during the opening ceremony of the Olympics. There was a singer singing John Lennon's Imagine, which is nothing more than a one world song. Then we had all these countries and their flags following a rider on the white horse, together following a rider on the white horse. The 2012 Olympics also had a message as well. Going back to the 2012 Olympics, you can see heavy themes of the C-19. You can see dancing nurses. You can see hospital beds. In the middle of these hospital beds, you can see this large death-like figure, which they say is Voldemort. But you can also see the image of death holding a needle. So this would not be the first time there was a message during the Olympic opening ceremony that would play out in the future. So what could happen that would cause this great merger? Well, news and media were kind enough to give us multiple scenarios that would throw the election out of whack to the point there would be no election. Reading this article from Politico that was published on January 5th, 2024, it is titled, "The Unpredictable but Entirely Possible Events That Could Throw 2024 into Turmoil." This article, like I said, goes on to list multiple scenarios that would disrupt the 2024 election. Continuing to read from this article, it says, "We all know the 2024 United States presidential election is going to be enormously divisive and dysfunctional, perceived by many, if not most, on the losing side to be illegitimate. But what if it is not just a perception? What if the world's most powerful country can hold a free and fair election?" They go on to list multiple scenarios, including a surprise from China, somebody passing away at a Trump rally on October 19th, 2024, Mother Nature wreaks havoc on the election. This is the one I find most interesting and plausible, because for those that have been subscribed to me for quite some time now, you will know I have made multiple videos when it comes to the New Madrid fault line. I have been keeping my eye closely on that fault line. Now, whether this is a natural eruption or a man-made one, there has been a lot of activity at the New Madrid fault line. They have been running multiple simulations at the New Madrid fault line. They have had the National Guard come out to the fault line multiple times in 2024 running simulations. They even have a movie where the New Madrid fault line were to erupt. Now, if this New Madrid fault line were to erupt in 2024, it would basically split the United States in two. The USGS even stated if the New Madrid fault line were to erupt, multiple states within the United States would be uninhabitable. So if there were to be no election in the United States, this would most likely be the most likely scenario, to me anyway. But the thing is, I doubt this will make all the world leaders around the world to come together. It will definitely make the Democrats and Republicans come together in the United States, but not the world leaders. But this article does list another scenario that would cause all the world leaders to come together, and that would be an alien invasion. Yes, this article even mentions a message from outer space. But we know these things could also come from the lab, another dimension, or they could be man-made, Project Bluebeam style. They have been really hyping up the talks of UFOs and aliens lately for a reason. Then the list ominously ends with a digital apocalypse or so much more. And that's true. They can create any scenario to disrupt the 2024 United States presidential election. They could post all these events to a board, they could throw a dart at these events, and whatever the dart lands on, this is the event they're going to run with to cause this great merger, this great unity, and also interrupting the United States presidential 2024 election. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.